This is CBN Newswatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Efrem Graham. We begin this half hour in Washington. Christmas is just around the corner, but instead of delivering holiday cheer, the United States government could be headed toward a shutdown. CBN's Brody Carter reports on the political infighting that has both parties pointing fingers.
After President-elect Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk helped tank a bipartisan bill, Republicans tried a new and much shorter plan backed by Trump, and it also failed.
The Musk-Johnson proposal is not serious. It's laughable. Extreme MAGA Republicans are driving us to a government shutdown.
The original $1.7 trillion bipartisan bill included funding for disaster relief, farm subsidies, and extended funding for Obamacare, and gave Congress a pay raise. But Elon Musk, the incoming government efficiency czar, argued it was full of wasteful spending, and numerous congressional Republicans agreed.
And you know what? They got scared because President Musk told them, President Musk said, don't do it. Don't do it. Shut the government down.
The new proposal would have suspended the debt ceiling for 2 years, giving Trump's administration more financial flexibility, but it failed in the House after 38 Republicans joined Democrats to vote no.
The same Democrats berated Republicans and said that it was irresponsible to hold the debt limit, the debt ceiling hostage. What changed? It is, I think, really irresponsible for us to risk a shutdown over these issues on things that they have already agreed upon.
Critics argue the measure is part of a larger strategy by Democrats. The Wall Street Journal editorial board slammed Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, saying he holds up spending bills during the year, then relies on end-of-the-year jam sessions to force through spending when lawmakers are desperate to leave for the holidays. But Democrats are criticizing Republicans.
But this is as much about the future in the next 2 years as well. House Republicans have a choice to work with us or not.
Vice President-elect J.D. Vance claims the Democrats voted to shut down the government. And conservatives argue the measure was financially irresponsible, driving up the federal debt. Democrats, however, say it serves the interests of the wealthy while ignoring the needs of everyday Americans.
This chaos does not benefit anyone except those who already have great wealth and power. And we will remain steadfast in fighting for the American people and delivering for them.
Conservatives point out the national debt now stands at a staggering $36 trillion, and the federal deficit is adding nearly $2 trillion every year. Experts warn that deficits this high have only been seen during wartime and pandemic crises. Brody Carter, CBN News.
We turn now to the Middle East. United Nations pressure is mounting on Israel to take care of the Palestinians. In Syria, the discovery of mass graves of tortured and executed Syrians is evidence of the brutality of the Assad regime, and that's not all. Now, there's concern Turkey's proxies could massacre the Kurds, who are U.S. allies and Christians. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl is on this story.
New pressure on Israel from the United Nations as it passed a resolution pushed by Norway asking the International Court of Justice to decide if Israel is obligated to support aid groups like UNRWA in Gaza. This comes as Israel banned UNRWA because some of its staff took part in the brutal October 7th attack on the Jewish nation. Norway believes Israel must let UNRWA do its work in Gaza.
Israel, under international law, has an obligation to provide assistance, to collaborate with all those entities, the UN, humanitarian organizations, and third states, and let them help those who are suffering.
The ICJ's opinion won't be binding on Israel, but it could increase international pressure on the Jewish state. The resolution added to the UN's record this year of voting against Israel nearly 3 times as often as all other countries combined. The group UN Watch pointed out that the world body overlooked evidence that UNRWA has been complicit with Hamas. And while the UN is focused on Israel, Syrians are uncovering atrocities committed by the Assad regime. Syrians are digging up mass graves that may hold more than 100,000 tortured and slain victims.
We've documented this crime occurred. We documented from satellite imagery and from witness testimony that the bodies were buried in trenches.
You can see the corpses of our relatives. We had hoped to find them in prison, but we didn't find anyone, and it broke our hearts. They were burned alive here after being doused in fuel.
Some of them were killed by burning, others by shooting. One was hung by a rope. There were executions by shooting in the head, in the eye. Also, some were burned.
Concern is also rising about Turkey's Syrian proxies attacking the Kurds in northeast Syria. That could lead to a massacre of the U.S.-backed Kurds and their Christian allies, and possibly set thousands of imprisoned ISIS terrorists free.
Those Kurds who have been financed by the United States, who are American allies and have been for decades, those Kurds are protecting prison camps where there are an estimated 45,000 to 50,000 ISIS fighters and their families.
The U.S. has troops on the ground to fight ISIS, but only a couple of thousand, so the U.S. is concentrating on what it can do diplomatically. However, Dave Eubank of the Free Burma Rangers worries what will happen if the U.S. can't get Turkey to call off its proxies.
There will be a great slaughter, not just of Kurds, but of Christians and anybody who opposes these Islamic radicals in northeast Syria. ISIS will rise again right now, and we will lose one of the few allies we have in the region.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
An ancient stone tablet bearing the Ten Commandments sold for more than $5 million at auction Wednesday. Dating from 300 to 800 AD, it is the oldest known tablet inscribed with the Ten Commandments in Paleo-Hebrew script. Discovered in Israel in 1913, it was not immediately recognized for what it was. Used as a paving stone at a private home for decades until a scholar realized its significance. The anonymous buyer plans to donate it to an Israeli institution. Still ahead, sending a message of hope to people behind bars. See what's being done to bring light inside a prison. We'll be right back. Christmas is a time for celebrating with family and friends, but not everyone. For those in prison, Christmas can be just another day of isolation and despair. Now, a global initiative is reaching behind prison walls with a message of hope. CBN's Brody Carter takes us inside the effort to bring light to some of the darkest places this holiday season.
Behind these gates, thousands of men and women are facing a very lonely Christmas. This year, though, a small gift is making its way inside. It's filled with hope and the gospel. It's letting inmates know that they're not forgotten and that God's love knows no walls. Inside the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Department, Chief Deputy Tina Mapes says the feeling of isolation can be widespread, especially during the holidays.
24/7, we don't close down, so Christmas Day, the deputies are here working away from their families. It's difficult for the deputies as well. It is for the inmates and the inmate families.
To soften these harsh realities, Good News Global is providing inmates 65,000 Hope Packs, stretching across 23 states and 20 countries, from Virginia to Venezuela.
We say it's the gift and the gospel.
The packs include socks, puzzles, snacks, and a gospel message. For many, it's the first gift they've received in years. And Ministry President John Evans says it can be life-changing.
So on an annual basis, we'll see somewhere north of 50,000 people make a decision to follow Christ by virtue of the ministry of the chaplains and the volunteers.
For chaplains like Richard Van Arsdale, the mission is personal. Once incarcerated himself, Van Arsdale now delivers these gifts so he can share the gospel.
I was a recipient of Hope Packs 3 years in a row during my own incarceration.
Now standing on the outside of the cell, he knows the value of not being forgotten.
Some inmates get bombarded with cards and letters, while other men or women on the same cell block literally receive nothing, even if it's just for the day. The Hope Pack really changes the environment of jail and prison because everyone receives a gift, and not just a gift with snacks, but the gift of the gospel. They receive hope.
Good News Global is unique in that it's the only ministry crossing state and international lines to do this work.
What we do is we put chaplains in jails where they belong.
Joe Kelty meets inmates right where they are. As one of 75 chaplains in the U.S. and 200 overseas, Kelty feels the ministry has transformed his heart as much as the lives of those he serves.
Your life is essentially over. If ever there was a time that you would turn to God, it's probably when you're going through something like that.
With more than 2 million people behind bars nationwide, it's no wonder these inmates can feel forgotten, especially during Christmas. That's why for so many, a Hope Package is not just a gift, it's a lifeline, reminding them they're not alone during the holidays or any other day of the week. Reporting in Virginia Beach, Virginia, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Coming up, we've got an exclusive first look at the upcoming series, The House of David, right after this. Welcome back to CBN News Watch. The highly anticipated series House of David premieres in February, and we've got an exclusive first look. Plus, Jamie Foxx makes his return to the stage with a new comedy special. All these stories and more in this week's look at the top 5 stories making headlines in the world of uplifting entertainment.
At number 5.
Of course, I was afraid to speak when I was just a lad.
A miracle and a milestone birthday for an entertainment legend.
These guys I owe my life to and my house to. So God bless you guys.
Legendary film and TV actor Dick Van Dyke giving credit to neighbors and other good Samaritans for helping him escape a raging wildfire in Malibu, California. Van Dyke telling ABC Los Angeles station KABC-TV that he got tired wrestling with a fire hose before people arrived and saved him before the Franklin fire closed in on his home last week. Van Dyke recently turned 99.
At number 4.
Tonight, we have a very special guest, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson!
A high court judge trades the bench for Broadway, at least for a night.
Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson traded her judge's robes for a Broadway costume Saturday night. She fulfilled a childhood dream with a one-time only performance in the hit musical comedy And Juliet.
Guilty roads to an endless love.
I feel very much in my element.
You do?
I do.
I love that.
I like it too. Yay. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant.
I had these 2 different loves, the law and theater. And so being the first Black woman Supreme Court Justice to appear on a Broadway stage. That has been a dream of mine for all of these years.
Female empowerment. Sick.
At number 3.
Animals do the most remarkable things at every stage of their lives.
An inside look at Apple TV's new 10-part series, featuring incredible footage of rare and remarkable animal behaviors of 77 unique species in 24 countries, filmed over 3 years and streaming now.
From leaving home to finding food, we go undercover in their world and reveal the secret lives of animals.
At number 2, we're sharing the very first images from Prime Video's highly anticipated series, House of David, the biblical story of David's rise from shepherd boy to the renowned and celebrated King of Israel. It begins streaming February 27th with 3 episodes and then 1 episode every week in more than 240 countries. It's written and directed by filmmakers John Irwin and John Gunn. At number 1.
Actor Jamie Foxx is asking for prayers as the actor has now spent more than 2 weeks in an Atlanta hospital.
Fans are abuzz following Jamie Foxx's return to the comedy stage in a Netflix special.
As long as I could find a church that feels like church.
Foxx credits faith and family for his miraculous recovery from a life-threatening brain bleed and stroke.
Just 400 yards away from here in Piedmont Hospital, they put me back together again. That's why this moment is the most incredible moment, because you do take it for granted.
Recording artists Tasha Layton and Anthony Evans are part of a special performance at the Museum of the Bible in our nation's capital this weekend. The event is called Everlasting Light, singing the story of Christmas. It's a holiday celebration by candlelight, complete with a world-class orchestra and choir. The show started last night, has 2 days still remaining. For more information, including being able to buy tickets, you can go to museumofthebible.org. And time now for your Friday Faithful. Today I leave you with this word. It's a quote I read yesterday from Mark Twain, and I hope it inspires you to let go of anger. Here's what he said. Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. In all the busyness of this holiday season, cheer can easily turn to anger. Don't let it. Release the anger. In the end, guess what? You free yourself. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time, as well as online. That's cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. We'll see you on Monday. Goodbye and God bless.